Hello, everybody. This is Mark Morsehead, the treasurer behind the scenes, and you know who I am. And Mark, you might have caught a sneak peek of Mark back last May. Mark and I traveled together to Eastern Europe, and you might have noticed him doing some interviewing with some of the missionaries we were striving to encourage there. And Mark has been invited by me to step out in front of the camera instead of being behind the camera so we can get to know him. But you gotta tell the folks real briefly about your family, starting with the doll baby of a wife you have.
Well, I've been married to Leslie for 34 years.
Wow.
What a wonderful woman she is. She's provided 4 wonderful boys, and out of that, my oldest has a granddaughter, or I have a granddaughter, and what a wonderful little woman this girl is, and we just love her to death, and we're excited to begin to seeing some grandkids in our family.
She is very cute. I have seen her. Looks a lot like her grandmother. Nothing against my brother Mark. Well, we want to thank you for praying for us. Down through the years, or if it's been recently for you, we're just so grateful for the ways that you pray for us as we strive to serve those who serve, whether here in the U.S. or on foreign soil. Thank you. And specifically, we want to thank you for asking God to guide us uniquely to the foreign soil opportunities that He wants us to take advantage of. There are no shortage of possibilities of places that we can go and provide a spiritual refreshment retreat for free for Christian leaders around the world because of the support of many of you and how you make that possible. So there's no shortage of places we can go. So discerning where to go really takes a lot of wisdom. And we sense that God has answered your prayers above and beyond what we ever dreamed He might. And He has arranged for 4 locations this coming spring. And those 4 locations happen to be divided into pairs. I look like Dr. Spock. So that we're going to be going to 2 countries on one trip and then 2 countries in another trip. Mark and I are going to Eastern Europe together. You'll be hearing more about Moldova and Ukraine in a moment. But then after that, I will be going by myself, virtually by myself. We'll tell you more about that later, to East Africa. And we're going to places that have independent ministries, but they happen to be in adjacent countries, so we're able to go on one plane ticket. So we're very encouraged by that. So thank you for praying that way. We appreciate that. What we'd like to do is we'd like to tell you about that first trip to Eastern Europe that Mark and I are going to. And it is a trip we're excited about. It's a bit of a return engagement following up on last May. But also you'll notice on the praying page of the Behind the Scenes website, there's a PDF you'll be able to click on so that you can copy it, print it out, put it on your refrigerator if you're like me, and be praying for us. We would be so delighted to have you praying beside us. Our trip to Eastern Europe is divided into thirds. The first third is going to be in Moldova, where we're going to be interacting with various Christian leaders, either English-speaking or Romanian-speaking, which is what they speak in Moldova. And what are some of the things we might be doing that first third of the trip, that first 3 days?
We're going to come alongside some of these mission leaders to better understand their needs and their difficulties so that we can better define how we can support them while we're on the trip and in the future. We will be meeting with Tom Demery, which we'll talk about here in a minute, who is a friend of mine, but also what's known as the Coalition of missionary efforts in Moldova.
Which is an informal, non-denominational, one organization-oriented, loose-fitting network of English-speaking people who God has guided to Moldova.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, on that first third of the trip, like Mark just said, we're going to be spending time with them, maybe doing some counseling, some encouraging, maybe rolling up our sleeves and helping them with some projects related to their ministries. Then the second third of the trip the next 3 days, we're going to be leading a couples retreat for those English-speaking people who are in ministry. Now, most of these folks are from America. One couple in this retreat is from New Zealand, and we will be trying to encourage them as a couple. Last May, Mark and I went over to lead a men's retreat, and some of those men are coming back with their wives for this couples retreat. So we're very excited about that. Now, you might think or be wondering, how in the world do we get to Moldova? Well, we didn't talk too much about it in the video update summary back in May of 2018. Mark went to Central Michigan University.
That's right.
And he was in a fraternity, and he met a guy there named Tom, and then decades passed until
another fraternity brother of mine contacted me and said that they were doing a golf outing for him. So,
and you're like, what's going on? Golf outing for what?
So it ended up being a benefit to raise money for Tom's ministry in Moldova. And that was my chance to really reconnect with him and get to know what he had been doing in the last 40 years, but how he got to Moldova.
Because the last time you had met Tom, were you guys Christ-following,
No.
mission-minded men?
No, we were not following Christ at the time, and I was very interested in finding out what brought him to Christ and that kind of thing, and as a potential opportunity for behind the scenes to support him. So it worked out really well, and that began our relationship
With this network you had described earlier, because Tom didn't know any of these people when God guided him to Moldova, but he's now part of that loose-fitting network we were describing earlier. And so he's almost like our liaison to those folks. So that'll be the second part of our three-part trip. The third part will not be in the country of Moldova, but will be over the border in Ukraine. We're going to be hopping in the car with Tom, who's going to be our chauffeur, and another person that's going to be at the Moldovan retreat, an English-speaking American, and we're going to go to Odessa, Ukraine, and we're going to guide and facilitate another spiritual refreshment retreat, but this time it's not for couples. This time it's for a leadership team of a ministry to orphans in Ukraine. They're not so much the directors of an orphanage specifically, but they're involved in ministry to orphans, which is a very big issue in the former Soviet bloc area of the world, through different means. And so we're going to provide a spiritual refreshment retreat at a motel, supported by people like you who are able to give above and beyond to this leadership team of this ministry. And we're really excited about that. So you can pray for the translation of that, because it'll be in Ukrainian instead of in English. And also the two people that'll be going with Mark and I, that they'll be able to put up with our senses of humor or lack thereof.
or lack thereof. Yeah.
So just to wrap things up, if you've come to this part of the video, thanks for watching this far. We appreciate it. And if you got here through the email, please go to that second link that will take you to the praying page of the website, where you'll be able to click on and see this PDF. If you're not able to get it printed out, send me an email, and I'll send you one somehow I'll get one to you, okay? And also there's a third link in that email, and that describes our investing page of the website. If you want to give this month, March is our annual matching month, where all the monies raised during this month, up to $10,000, offered by a mission-minded couple, up to that point will be used toward trips like this, where we'll be going foreign soil, ministering to people in different countries that way. So if you're interested in that, you can go to that third link on your email. How do we wrap it up?
So I just want to thank everyone who has been praying for us and supporting us. And I just have to tell you that we are seeing the Lord move in big ways. The effort that you have been putting into this ministry has impacted many people, both locally and abroad now. And with all the trips that Steve has taken, and now with the one that we're doing with Moldova. But You really need to know. There's a lot of backstories here. We could tell you about how we see the Lord moving in our ministry, and but that'll be a subject for another video, perhaps.
Yeah, we don't want to outstay our welcome, so thanks for listening. We appreciate it, and thanks more than that for praying beside us.